good morning, good evening, good afternoon from wherever it is that you're joining us from. Welcome to the weekly swing. This Monday, 7th of August 2023. Hope you've been well. Hope you had a good week and a good weekend rather. But we're glad that you could join us. John Bogo is my name. I'm a trader with Afriforex. I'm here alongside Mitch. Mitch, how are you doing?
I'm good. Hope everyone is well. Karibuni sana. Let's see if we can at least find some nice opportunities for this week. So yeah, John, you can go ahead.
All right. So remember, guys, since you're definitely watching this on YouTube, make sure that you definitely hit the subscribe button. And of course, remember to like this video and turn on the bell notification so that you'll be notified anytime we do have any new content on our channel. So we're going to jump straight into it. So you can see right there what we're going to be watching out for this week. So from Monday the 7th all the way till Friday the 11th of August, this is what we're expecting. So some strength coming in on the US dollar, on the euro, some weakness coming in on the Australian dollar and the New Zealand dollar. So can see that we've also mixed or put the things in the various sides that they're supposed to be on. Remember the way we normally go about it when it comes to the weekly swing. We don't mix and match up the buys versus the sells. It's always the sells versus the neutrals, the buys versus the neutrals, but we also do have gold and the Dow Jones, which are more or less standalone. So we don't mix and match them up against everything else. So what we've done this week is we have a much more linear watch list, but you can still watch out for all the permutations and combinations that you can get, more or less like 16 pairs in total, but we've narrowed things down. But you can still end up watching out to see whether you can end up possibly getting opportunities, even on the currency pairs that we're not going to be showcasing in this particular session. So I think we can start off by looking at gold and the Dow Jones, then we'll move on to the currency pairs. So Mitch, if you're ready.
Yeah.
Pick it away.
So now on gold, our bias here, even last week, was to look for buying opportunities. It still is. Just based on how the market structure is, we can clearly see these buyers right here are the ones who did manage to push this market to the upside. So we do know we are looking for buying opportunities as long as we're holding above this particular area right there. So due to the fact that we can see the market has given us a pullback, these sellers do look as if they're really slowing down. So right now, the main thing we want to actually see is the possibility of the price, maybe even giving us some sort of probe coming to the upside. And if we do see the price holding above, we should be able to look for those buying opportunities. So could end up seeing that. But since we are within this buyer's area, there's a possibility that if the price manages to break this area to the downside, and we do see the price holding below, then we might end up seeing a selling opportunity coming in. I don't know, John, can you see the levels that I'm drawing?
No, just try again.
It seems I'm drawing a number.
Right.
So
it's not really. I think what you're saying is what maybe the market pulling back in, coming back in again, and maybe something like that.
Yes.
All right. So there is that possibility. If it breaks below the red SNR, if it holds below,
then at that point in time, we'll definitely be looking for sells. But if we do see the price breaking, and when we say a break, we want to see a proper breach to the downside. And if you see the price coming in, struggling and holding below the red SNR, then we should be able to see more selling opportunities. So at least at that time, right now, we're within a particular good area because we could end up seeing the buyers coming in, especially if we do see aggressive buyers. Then we definitely know the big boys are still interested and we should look for those buying opportunities. But if those buyers come in and we do see the prices breaching and holding below this area, then we should continue looking for those selling opportunities.
All right. So you're looking at possibilities, something like that. So it's just dependent on whether the market holds above or below that SNR right there.
Yeah.
All right. So I hope guys have got a note of that. So let's see what happens. Non-farm payroll was quite uneventful. Seems like the market went up, but still more or less holding within the same region. So moving on into the next one. Now
on the Dow Jones, our bias here is to look for buys. Similar situation with gold. We can see the overall flow of the market has been the price going to the upside. Right now, this is what a pullback, or at least a pullback, is coming in, and it's definitely what we wanted to see. So the fact that the sellers are still running to the downside, we'll still be looking for buying opportunities, but we do want to wait for these sellers to actually die out. So you can see right now, we're just breaking and holding. It seems like we're holding below major support and resistance area. You can see how many times this SNR level has actually held, because due to the fact that the price has been bouncing off that area, some similar to a range. Right now, the fact that the price looks as if it's breaking to the downside, if it does, then we'll be looking for buying opportunities within the red support and resistance area, especially if we see the buyers coming in within that location, then we definitely will be looking for buying opportunities then. But due to the fact that right now, we're not guaranteed that this price is actually holding below this yellow SNR. So if we do see the price coming back in, and we do see aggressive buyers coming back in, and the price actually holds above this yellow SNR, then we should be able to continue with those buying opportunities. But right now, let's wait to see what happens. It depends. If the price holds below, then ideally we'll be looking for buys at that lower price. But if it breaks and holds below the red SNR, I think at that point in time, our bias will also change and we will start looking for selling opportunities. So hope that's clear as we move on to the next pair. So now on the Australian dollar pairs, we are looking for selling opportunities. So we've identified a few Australian dollar pairs that do look quite weak. So starting off with the British pound against the Australian dollar, you can see the market has been in a transition on the way to the upside. So right now, we're at the top of ideally the overall flow. The fact that the market keeps on making higher highs and higher lows. Right now, we've just made a higher high. So what we do need is a pullback to come in. So I've identified this yellow SNR could be a good location for where the price could end up coming back in. So if we do see the price coming back in, giving us some sort of probe within that area and holding above, then we should be able to look for a buying opportunity there. However, if the price doesn't actually hold within this yellow SNR, we could still see the price coming back down all the way to the red support and resistance area, coming back to all these main buyers who did start the push to the upside. So we do know as long as we're holding above this area, we're definitely going to be looking for buying opportunities. So right now, it's just a matter of how the pullback is going to come in. So whether or not it comes back within the yellow SNR or the red SNR, then we will be able to look for buying opportunities there. But be aware that there's also a possibility if the price actually starts going to the upside, because you can see we are within a minor support and resistance area, possibly on the 1 hour time frame, because you can see the price seems to be holding, just bouncing between a small level. So if you see the price going to the upside, breaking this particular high, making a new higher high, then on that pullback, then we should be able to look for buying opportunities there. So it's exactly as we've drawn here. So hope that's clear on what ideally the game plan is on the British pound against the Australian dollar. Now, moving on to the Australian dollar against the Canadian dollar, we can see this Australian dollar weakness really coming in. This one looks pretty good. Ideally, it looks as if the market is trending down very nicely. Can see the market, or at least the sellers, did manage to push the price down all the way down towards the bottom area. And right now, the market is on a pullback. And you can see we're back within the support and resistance area that was just weak. So the main thing we want to see, possibly on the 1 hour time frame, is see how the market ends up reacting within this area that we're at right now. So if we do end up seeing some sort of probe or price action signal within that particular area, and we see the price holding below, or at least aggressive sellers, then we should be able to continue looking for selling opportunities. However, if this level doesn't hold, we could end up even finding the price going up higher. So remember, we should still be looking for selling opportunities as long as we're holding below the red SNR. So we could find the price bouncing off that red SNR, giving us a similar situation, some sort of probe. The reason why we mention all these probes is because it does give us a very good idea of what the big boys are doing, and it's definitely incited very many people to go on the opposite side. So I hope that's clear. This one is pretty straightforward on what we're going to be looking for on the Australian dollar against Canadian dollar. So we can move on to the next and last Australian dollar pair we do have, which is the Australian dollar against Swiss franc. Now, similar situation with the Australian dollar against the Canadian dollar. We can see the sellers did manage to push this price down lower, much lower, right there, you can see. And right now, it is starting its pullback to come to the upside. Now, it hasn't pulled back as far as the Australian dollar against Canadian dollar, but we do end up still expecting the price to possibly come up higher, coming back towards this yellow support and resistance area that we do have, possibly get some sort of probe or price action signal for us to look for a selling opportunity then. Now, be aware, the same story with the Australian dollar against the Canadian dollar. If this yellow support and resistance doesn't hold, and you do see that also on the other Australian dollar pairs, you could find the price going up higher all the way to the red support and resistance area, could be going all the way up there, right there, to incite many people to actually look for buying opportunities. Because by that time, all those people looking for sales now will not be stopped out and the biases will change. So if we do see that and the price falls below that red SNR, you could find some nice selling opportunities coming. So I hope that's clear on the Australian dollar pairs. So John, I guess we can end up moving on to the next currency pairs.
All right. So we can look at New Zealand dollar against the Canadian dollar, which is also a pair of interest for us this week. So we're going to be watching out to see whether we can get some selling opportunities on this one. So you can see the three areas that we're going to be watching out for. The market has been coming down. We're getting some sort of a pullback. Let's see if we can get the market coming back in within here. Possibly we do get a price action signal, maybe some sort of incitement within this region right here, maybe bringing in more buyers. Then the market comes back in and holds. Could find some selling opportunities happening somewhere off here. Or you could possibly find the pullback coming in deeper, maybe inciting more buyers to come in before the sellers do actually come in. So could watch out for that. Also remember, sales could also possibly happen down here. In case the market breaks this region to the downside, just make sure that you're quite patient in terms of waiting to see how the pullback does end up happening within this particular region right here. And also remember, we don't want a sloppy breach. We want a strong breach to the downside. If we get that, then you could possibly try and see whether you could get some selling opportunities on the pullback on this one. Remember the region at the top, in case the market comes all the way to within there and breaks it to the upside, then unfortunately at that point in time, you will need to be on standby. So the next one is the Great British Pound against the US dollar. Also a pair of interest for us this week. We're going to be trying to see whether we can get some selling opportunities. So you can see the three regions where we're going to be trying to see whether we can possibly get some opportunities and also areas where we can manage. Right now, you can see that the market is coming down. So it's either the market will possibly end up breaking this region to the downside. If it does end up breaking this region to the downside quite strongly, then could possibly try and see whether we could get some sales. But you also could reach what's happening maybe on the smaller time frame to see the story of what's going on within here. But there's a possibility, this being an SNR, couldn't we find the market bouncing to the upside? So you need to be a bit careful. So it would be better possibly try and see whether you could possibly get yourself higher up, maybe somewhere within this region right here, in case this market does react off here. So watch out for that. Also remember the region at the top. There's a possibility you could find the buyers coming in. You could find that maybe later on in the week, price could be here, then Thursday, Friday, you could find it doing some nice move coming down. So just make sure that you do watch out for those three areas right there. So the next one is the US dollar against the Japanese yen. So for this one, I'm going to be watching out to see whether we can get some buying opportunities. So do watch out and take note of these three regions right here. So for this one, we're going to be trying to see whether we can get the buys somewhere as close as possible within this region right here. So let's see if we can get the market possibly reacting somewhere off there. If we can get that pullback coming in within here, it could be good. Remember that price can also come back in all the way deep to within this area right here. So not something that's uncommon. Could find the pullback coming in a bit deeper. Maybe stopping out guys who put their stops here, especially getting the late buys higher up within these regions here. So you could find the market coming back in within here, possibly give some sort of incitement. And you could find that the buys could possibly also end up working out of this region right here. So just make sure that you take note of that. Conservative buys, possibly at the top, somewhere within here. But ideally, if you're going to be looking for buys within this region right here, maybe look at the story more on the 1 hour time frame. Read the story of what happens if the market breaks this area to the upside. You could potentially try some buys within this area, but remember that buys within this region could also be risky because this could be some probes somewhere within this area right here. So just make sure that you're fully well aware of that. So the next one is the euro against Japanese yen. So for this one, we're going to be also trying to see whether we can get some buying opportunities. You can see the three areas right there. The market is more or less within an area of support, but let's see if we can possibly get some sort of incitement happening within here. To get something like that, maybe we could look for the buys, especially if the sellers do attempt to break to the downside and they are successful. Market comes back in and holds, then we could look for the buying opportunities there. Make sure that you're watching out and managing your trades, even if we've highlighted this region right here. But generally, when the market comes back in within this area at around 157.152, make sure that you're really watching out for price within these regions. You could start to get signs of rejection. Now, if the pullback does end up coming in deeper, then maybe you could find price coming back in, maybe testing somewhere within this region here before the buyers do actually end up attempting to push the market up higher. So just make sure that you also do watch out for that region at the bottom right there, which is going to be the last area. So we're going to be trying to see whether we can get our buying opportunity. So last but not least, we do have the euro against the Canadian dollar. So for this one, we're also going to be trying to see whether we can get some buys. So hopefully you can end up taking note of these three regions right here. Right now you can see the pullback is now starting to come in. Let's see if we can get the market possibly giving us something within this region right here. If we do end up getting maybe a probe or a price action signal here, we could find the market lifting off and the buyers will continue to push the market up higher. Alternatively, if the pullback does come in deeper, maybe the market needs prices somewhere within this region at the bottom here, or somewhere within this area here, then just make sure that you're also on the lookout for that. You could possibly still find some buying opportunities working off this region right here, especially if we get the market breaking to the downside, comes back in, hopefully stops out some guys or some buyers within here, and also possibly inside some sellers, then you could find the market possibly reacting off there to the upside. So just make sure that you do watch out for that. So hopefully you've taken note of those kinds of pairs. And once again, this is the watch list for what we're going to be watching out for this week. So in terms of the fundamentals, this week, there isn't that much. You can see that today is already a holiday. Tomorrow we have some CPIs for the euro, which are going to be coming out at around 9. Possibly could find the market possibly making a move at that time on Thursday. You can also see that we also have CPIs for the US. So it's could find the USDs possibly moving at around that time as well. So let's make sure that you're on the lookout for that. And I can see some GDP news events that are going to be coming out for the Great British Pound on Friday at around 9 a.m. So I don't know, it seems like it's going to be a bit of a quiet week.
Yeah.
Say that, then we find the markets really moving.
I think so, but at least maybe Thursday and Friday, definitely a lot of more volatility, at least for the British pound and for the US dollar. But it seems there are a lot of holidays. We're not the only ones who took a holiday this week.
Yeah, some holidays are weird, like Mountain Day. I even wonder what's that all about. Today, I don't know why this one is repeated 4 times here. I mean, you already get the point by just putting one. I don't know why it's repeated 4 times. Just to make sure that you really know it's a holiday. Yeah. All right. So I guess that's pretty much it from us. So I guess we'll see you guys in the next episode. And remember, you can always join us every Monday at 10:30 a.m. Apart from this week when we're on a break, but you can join us next week. There should be a link in the video description as well, where you can end up signing up, and at least you can join us for the weekly swing, where we end up getting these things live. So I guess we'll see you guys in the next episode. So until then, in the future, guys, now.